Another weekend of Cornell hockey is in the books, and tonight we take a look at the directions both teams are headed. I'm your host, Cam Manna. We're glad you could join us this evening. We're set to bring you highlights and analysis from this past weekend, plus we sit down with our analysts to get a breakdown of Big Red hockey and the ECAC as a whole. The best Big Red hockey coverage is right here on ICTV, so lace up your skates. It's time for Big Red Face-Off. November is here, and as October hits the rearview mirror, we take a look at two different types of starts for Cornell men's and women's hockey. I'm your host, Cam Manna, and we are glad you could join us this evening. We're set to bring you highlights and analysis from this past weekend, plus we sit down with our analysts to get a breakdown of Big Red hockey and the ECAC as a whole. The best Big Red hockey coverage is right here on ICTV, so lace up your skates. It's time for Big Red Face-Off. Welcome back to Big Red Face-Off, live in the ICTV studios. I'm your host, Cam Manna. Women's hockey kicked off November by winning 3 games in a row and looking like a top 5 team in the country after they beat number 10 Clarkson 8-1. But to finish November, that's been a lot different. Cornell entered Sunday's game against number 14 Princeton on a 2-game skid and would tie the Tigers 2-2. Cornell is now 0-1 in their last 3 games, their worst stretch of this season. The big question people are asking is what happened to the Big Red in the last week of November? And to answer that question, we are now joined by our women's analyst at the desk, Rihanna DeCrow. Rihanna, always a pleasure to talk Cornell hockey.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've been talking a lot about New York. Let's move to Smashville now.
So that stretch right now where they've struggled 0-1, what's been the biggest contributor to their downfall? And to break it all down, we bring on our men's analyst, Chris Soule, at the desk. Chris, it's a pleasure to have you back.
It's great to be back in the studio, Cam. You know, it was a great weekend of Cortica football, but I was busy paying attention to the Cornell men's hockey team and could not be more excited to break it down.
Well, that's your job, so I'm glad you did that. So we'll start with that St. Lawrence game, a big win for the Big Red. What are 2 things that went right for this squad? Rihanna, leadership is so big for a team's success, and I know that you as an athlete, you know about that importance. Talk about the leadership of this team. Is it there this upcoming season? A young talent on this team for Big Red, and the future of this team looks like it's in good hands. How important is this young talent for Cornell? I don't compliment Chris often, but his tie does look unbelievable. Chris, let's look at this weekend here. Princeton and Quinnipiac, a win and a loss. What were the differences between those 2 games? Now to these predictions, because we got to pick up the pace on our predictions. 2 weeks ago was not good for myself or Rihanna. We start with Yale. What's the prediction for this one? Rihanna was perfect until last weekend, and then she split. We'll see if she can get back to that perfect record. You'll have to find out next week. We took our second break of the night here on Big Red Face-Off, but stick with us. The ECAC machine, Matt Sosler, joins us to break down the whole entire conference. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the only ICTV show that covers Cornell hockey, Big Red Face-Off. I'm your host, Cam Manna. Cornell men's hockey finished off their early season exhibition games undefeated as the offense exploded in the 8-1 win over Guelph on Thursday night. And for more from that offensive clinic, we bring you the highlights from Liner Rank. So buckle up. The action begins early, 21 seconds in to be exact, and it's Sam Malinsky opens up the scoreboard. Cornell a 1-0 lead, and 9 minutes later, they wanted some more. This one, a highlight reel play. It's going to be freshman Sam Donaldson threading the needle, and Matt Steinberg taps it in. Sports Center, where were you in this one? And we stick in the first period. Donaldson wants some more, but can't convert. But the story for Cornell, staying on the offensive attack. They'll get back at it right here. A ricochet shot missed, but Max Andreev cleans it up, and Cornell now with a 3-0 lead. And surprise, Cornell not done in the first period. Just a minute later, Tim Rego on the backhander. Cornell 4-0. Can they be stopped? The answer is no. Second period, it's going to be the sophomore Andrei Sanitska on the power play, gets this one in, and now 5 minutes later, Big Red still in rhythm. Jack Malone with the trickery and a dot to Sean Donaldson. He had a night, 6 unanswered goals for Big Red in this game, and now another highlight reel. Andrei Sanitska puts this one through the wickets. Sports Center, da-da-da. That's not how you would do it here on Big Red Face-Off. And for goal number 8, Winter Wallace. What a night for Big Red. He would finish this one off, an 8-1 victory for the Big Red at home. The regular season for Cornell begins on Friday against number 19 Minnesota Duluth, and by the looks of it, Big Red is in mid-season form. And to break down all the success from the weekend, we have our men's analyst, the new one for the week as Chris Soule is out, the host of Next Player Up, Eli Fishman. Eli, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Cam. A pleasure.
An 8-1 victory for this Big Red team to end the exhibition part of the season. What went well for them?